time to check in with CoinDesk Global Policy and Regulation Managing Editor Nick Day, who is also the editor of CoinDesk's The State of Crypto newsletter. Hello there, Nick. So we have the Financial Action Task Force, a G7 initiative to develop policies against money laundering and terrorism financing. They have been in an ongoing plenary session, and crypto is on the agenda. So what are they saying about crypto?
Yeah, so earlier this year, FATF published a draft guidance that basically created, some, I don't want to say strict, but some fairly onerous requirements around virtual asset service providers, i.e. crypto exchanges, and more specifically, decentralized finance platforms, which, raised some concern. It's a little bit harder to enforce traditional KYC and AML rules around certain DeFi platforms because, they don't really have a lot of the analogs that centralized exchanges do have. So there's some concern about that. What we're watching for this week is to see whether or not this draft guidance gets adopted or if, it gets modified in the coming days. The plenary session ends on Friday and they'll hold a press conference then. So I know there's, definitely been some concern around how exactly this could be implemented and whether or not it will be adopted as is.
Nick, you recently had some observations for your newsletter about Libra, now known as DM. We just marked kind of an interesting anniversary. What is your take on that?
Yeah, it's to me, it's like the most significant, or one of the most significant projects the crypto space has seen, especially from a legal regulatory perspective. It kind of really kickstarted so much of what we see now around central bank digital currencies and stablecoin regulations, and even just kind of crypto awareness in general. Just
and just what is the anniversary? Just for people who don't know, it's the 2 years since it was initiated.
Friday, I think. Yeah, it's been 2 years since Facebook first announced that this is what their vision was, and that they're going to try and create a whole ecosystem around this stablecoin.
So, Nick, getting back to FATF, what does that mean for the average crypto user? What does it mean for Joe Sixpack, who's trading on their Coinbase accounts?
So, most likely, the immediate impact will be less on Joe Sixpack and more on Coinbase itself, right? We already saw earlier this year exchanges, grapple with this concept of potentially enforcing KYC rules and counterparty data collection, so name and addresses, when it comes to sending funds to smart contracts and other DeFi protocols. The FATF guidance, I don't think, goes quite as far as the proposed FinCEN rulemaking, but it is still, it'll be an additional burden for exchanges to have to comply with, and they'll have to make sure that, when they're sending funds, if this guidance is adopted, by different countries, when they're sending funds, that they have the appropriate KYC and AML checks around these different DeFi protocols and smart contracts and, just wallets in general.